everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Path 11 podcast. I'm your host, April Hanna, and we are bringing back a wonderful guest that we have had on two previous episodes, episode 11 and episode 29. We'd like to welcome back Todd Acamesis. Hi, Todd.
Hi, April. How are you? Yeah, great. Thank you very much for having me back.
Yeah, a lot has changed since we've talked to you last. I think you were living on a boat with a gong, a houseboat with a gong, and you were really involved in doing some of the Pandora Star. And I know congratulations is in order. You've recently have gotten married, and I believe you've moved, and you're doing more things in the world. So we wanted to have you back and just talk a little bit about some of the new projects that are going on. So what has been new with you?
Yeah, you're right, April. A lot has changed. In just the span of a year, we've opened up a mind spa, which we call Pandora Spa, and it's a futuristic spa dedicated to the exploration of consciousness, human potential. At the heart of the spa, we have the light entrainment technology that we call Pandora Star, which uses flickering light to guide the brain into altered and expanded states. So we have an explorer room which has no windows. It's actually underground, so there's no disturbances from the outside world. We have 4 fully adjustable beds in that space with Pandora Star set up over each bed. And the idea is that people come in, they lie down, they get relaxed, and they then choose a program that they'd like to use for that occasion, depending on what their desire is for exploration. We can do things such as well-being states. We can easily, with the light, manage stress, anxiety, depression, because we know those are particular frequencies. And doing all the brainwave research that we do with the light, we can pinpoint what's going on with an individual and then sort of diagnose what sort of frequency would be best for the light to guide them to. And so if they're experiencing something like depression, we know they're not getting enough of the sort of waking beta wave frequency, and they're getting a lot of more sort of delta waves. And delta waves are really associated with deep sleep. So if you can imagine somebody in depression being in that same state that we have when we have like sleep inertia, when we wake up from sleep, and it's a really groggy type state. So we can manage those kind of things. We can use the light for training the brain, so cognitive enhancement. There's been a lot of press recently with regards to some studies with Alzheimer's and mice with flickering light, and we've known for a long time things like the 40 hertz frequency is really good for cognitive enhancement. So, if you were using sort of 40 hertz every day for 15 minutes with a really good stimulus like our light machine or binaural sound, then within a short 6 weeks, you could be looking at something like an increase of 8% increased processing speed for your brain, which is quite a lot. And we also use the light for exotic states like lucid dreaming and out-of-body exploration. So we can actually use the light to guide somebody's brain to a frequency which we know is very beneficial for achieving those states.
Wonderful. And now that you moved, where is the Pandora Spa actually located?
We're located, the first spa is in London, Old Street. So we're in London, and the area is Old Street. We are planning to open up more spas around the world. So we currently have, I think, 200 people who own the light around the world. And eventually we'll be doing franchises with those owners so we can get a spa in all the big cities around the world, such as Paris and London, Tokyo, Sydney. I think we now have a light on every continent except for Antarctica. But give us time, we'll get there. But we're the main spa at the moment is located in London.
Okay, great. And I know that there is a connection. You connected us with a lady that has the Pandora Star, in New York City. So hopefully that will come to the hub there too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly on the cards for the near future for sure. And we call it a mind spa because this is an internal exploration as far as we're concerned. And, we don't just use the light machines. We also have gongs, which are, pretty amazing. And they're some of the oldest sound healing tools used for thousands of years, for meditation, for ceremony, for ritual. And gongs are extremely therapeutic. The sounds from gongs travel from the outer ear throughout the body via what's called the vagus nerve, which impacts brain waves, the respiratory rate, heart rate, which can all be very beneficial. So, we have this gong chamber, which has a pyramid, a 3-meter tall pyramid that surrounds it. And you basically, in the center of that pyramid, we have a zero gravity chair. And when you sit in the chair, we recline it into the zero G position, which takes all the weight off your spine, and it gives you this sense of weightlessness. And the pyramid itself is all made out of copper, and the base of the pyramid is also copper sheet metal, which is connected to a copper wire that goes out into the garden of the spa, where we have a 1-meter long copper rod that's then sort of in the earth. So that pyramid chamber itself, which is surrounded by all these gongs, is actually a grounding system. As you're probably aware, when we're around our smartphones, our cell phones, our computers, we build up a positive charge. And positive in this case is not a good thing. It can actually create a lot of free radical damage. So the earth itself is a grounding force. So if you were to stand on it with bare feet, you have to literally take your shoes off, because otherwise you're insulated from it because of the rubber soles. So if you take your shoes off, stand on it barefoot, then in just a few minutes' time, it'll bring that negative grounding force and create balance within the body. So we have a chamber like that. So what we typically do is we put people in there first, just to get them in that really relaxed state, and then we put them on the light, and that easily can transport them to other worlds, inner worlds.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Sounds great. And if I remember correctly, another guest that we had on the show, Teal Swan, she came out to try the Pandora Star. Isn't that right with you?
She did. Teal came over to our place, and we put her under the light, and she made an instant connection with it. She actually loved some of my favorite programs, which are what we call white light programs. They're based in the gamma waves and the gamma range. And gamma waves are associated with consciousness in the brain and cognitive enhancement. So using those frequencies on a regular basis, you can actually stimulate lucidity within dreams. It's something that I use myself on a daily basis. So if I was to use one of the gamma programs for, say, 30 minutes a day at 40 hertz, this is going to help me start increasing that gamma within my brain and getting my brain sort of rewired for this, so that when I sleep at night, because one of the, I can start experiencing lucid states, because one of the things that we're missing during REM sleep to achieve a lucid dream is 40 hertz gamma. So it's sort of a cocktail of frequencies, and we're getting all but one of those frequencies during regular REM sleep, but it's a hybrid state of REM to achieve something like lucid dreaming, which, we're pushing boundaries all the time here. We have 3 full-time explorers at the spa where we create programs and we use ourselves as guinea pigs, for months on end with new programs before we release them to our user community. So when somebody buys one of the lamps, they're with us for life. And the idea is that, whenever we create a new program, we release it to the community so everybody can benefit. So, this is really what we're exploring at the spa, this idea of, sort of love as a force beyond self, because we get people that come to the spa, because maybe they're stressed and anxious or depressed. And we put them in the gong chamber, which, really, has a therapeutic effect. We then put them on the light, which really brings a lot of, inner peace. And by the time they finished, a lot of people will say things like, oh my God, I feel like myself again. And you can just tell they're just radiating energy. But then they usually follow it up with something like, the memory that they now have to leave and go back out into London. And, they're like, oh, yeah, now I have to go back on the train. And, and I say to people, but this is really a key thing for, I think, people to really get. when we have, these sort of practices, like whether they're meditation practices, which, Pandora Star is based in that sort of grounding. So, after we meditate, we've sort of gone deep into, who and what we really are. When we do things like mindfulness or stillness meditations, we're going, deep into what I consider spiritual reality, and we're taking a break from our everyday drama. And that's recalibrating us. It's really, changing how we're thinking and how we're feeling and reminding us of who we really are. So when we achieve that with somebody at the spa, we like to remind them that this is the perfect time for them to be out in the world again, to be, in the city around other people, because they're more likely to be kind and compassionate and merciful and understanding towards people in that state than in a state to where they might have come in originally when they were feeling stressed and anxious. They don't have much energy to give in that state. So, we teach people, you can achieve this stuff with the light, but obviously this is something we want people to be able to achieve every day. So we talk about meditation, we talk about other sort of spiritual practices and metaphysical practices to where they can take it with them when they go home again, so they can experience these really powerful states more often, because we feel that when you do take a break from your daily drama through things like a spiritual practice, you're building up your energy, you're clearing energy, and you're drawing from support, potentially from other levels of reality, and you then have more to share, you have more to give. And I think this is one of the signs, the true signs of spiritual adulthood is generosity, knowing, to build your energy, and then therefore you have energy to give, because in that giving, you're just going to receive more anyhow, because you're in that flow state.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I get some of the same reaction from some clients after some meditation groups that we run or Reiki sessions, and they're kind of like, oh, can I just stay here forever? And they're like, I need this every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love how you put that. That is, they are walking in one state and really walking out. And, when they are connected, when you just think about them walking out of your space and going out into the world, that can only help the vibration just walking out of your own building, because they're in more of an alignment, which is what the world kind of needs right now. So the more we could do that ourselves more and more, that's just going to have that ripple effect.
Absolutely. So, this is the main sort of ethos behind the spa, is to help people learn how to, build, not just have support from, the spa or other, support groups, from friends and such, but to build those mental and emotional and spiritual muscles that'll give them that support from within. Because I think when you really do take time out on a daily basis to, maintain a spiritual practice like meditation, you're going inwards, and you're coming into contact with, this higher consciousness, and you realize how much support there is. You realize how much energy there is for you. And when you sort of then recalibrate yourself with this energy, your thoughts, your feelings, you're doing forgiveness work in that state, and you're clearing energy, you're being really responsible for all your thoughts and feelings. That then is going to change your behavior, and you're going to have a completely different, relationship with the world when you come back out of that meditation. Your whole sort of energy and thought system will change, hopefully from the fear mind to that true self.
Yeah. And I have to say, I love your passion and your dedication to this work. Anybody that follows you, just has to see it coming out of your pores, and it really gets me excited as well.
Thanks, April.
Yeah, and but you're also a good role model in the sense of, like, people know that this is something that you do as a diligent practice just for yourself, and then your love for it and expanding it out to the world and wanting everyone to experience what you know and what you have experienced, and trying to get them, connected to that other state of consciousness. And then, just kind of watching you as an individual grow from really where you were on this little houseboat and you were bringing your gongs to parks and, just trying to teach people about it. And I really think you're onto something big here. And, you're also creating this new program called Spiritual Underground, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. But when you see an individual just kind of progress through their path and their passion, and I'm watching you develop more and more intensely in this work, I'm also curious to know, with your consciousness growing and the experiences that you're having in the altered state of the lucid dreaming or out-of-body experience, have you gathered more knowledge in that state that has brought you to where you are today?
Oh, absolutely. I was really hoping we might, touch on this area. I've been having a lot of experiences of late, and, over the last, sort of 12, 13 years that I've been doing my lucid dream and out-of-body exploration practice, but more so now because I'm getting to the point of asking, higher quality, higher caliber questions, in these states. And it's leading, really deeper, into what I consider, I guess, the realities beyond what we think is physical. And the sort of big question I've been posing to people, of late, is with regards to, is our physical universe actually a mental construct? Because when we have like lucid dreams, as an example, that are so physically real and not to the point to where your brain is just processing, from the five senses in a dream perhaps, and creating a reconstruction of what we think is physical reality, in a sense, our waking lives. I mean, I've had false awakenings, and a false awakening, for those in the audience who may not know what that is, it's where, let's say you wake up in the morning in your bed, you've just woken up from a dream, you've written in your journal, you put the journal down, you get up, you start walking around your bedroom, and then you realize, oh, wait a second, where did this shag pile rug come from? I don't have a shag pile rug. I just have bare wood floors in my room. And you realize, oh my God, I'm still dreaming. And then usually in that instance, when you have that awareness that you're dreaming, you wake back up in your bed again. So you're now under the covers again, and you're like, oh my God, that was so real. I mean, I could feel the fiber of the rug underneath my feet. I could, it was solid. It was real. And then I get up again, and I then have another realization. I just wrote, 2 pages in a journal that didn't exist in physical reality, and yet the pen in my hand felt so physically real. The pages, the paper, that information I just wrote out in a journal that is now on another dimensional level of reality, or in a mental construct, in my psychic energy field. And maybe I'll wander around the bedroom, and it's very high fidelity. It's an exact copy of my bedroom, and I'm now convinced I've woken up. I might even sort of knock on the wall just to be certain, try to put my arm through it, because if I'm out of body, that can typically happen. And then, maybe you're getting on with your day for a good 5 minutes or so, and you're convinced you're awake, and then something else happens to where you might be like, oh my God, I don't have, a dining room table that looks like this. I'm still dreaming. And then you wake back in your bed again under the covers. And when you sometimes have 2 or 3 of these false awakenings in a row, which, like I said, can be very physically real, very high fidelity, as in a reconstruction of your actual room or your whole house, and it keeps tricking you into thinking you're awake back in your grounded reality, reality being our predominant waking state that we're focused on. So, and yet you're still in a dream state, or you're still in a mental construct. And, when you have these back-to-back experiences, it really shakes you up. It really forces you to have one of these ontological sort of moments where, it shocks you into, looking at your current worldview and perhaps needing to change it, needing to upgrade it, at least challenging it deeply, because lucid dream states are as physically real as our waking reality, And in some cases, they're actually more vivid. It's quite profound. So yeah, I'm exploring more and more of these states with the goal to discover if the physical universe and our experience of it is an absolute illusion, a virtual reality projected from another dimension of reality.
That's so deep.
Yeah. But that's who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It just, oh God, it just, brings you to that place of, assessing all of that and thinking that. And, what I'm wondering is, with someone like yourself that is exposed to the Pandora Spa and the Star and the different programs that you have there, do you think that people that use that equipment are more apt to have these false awakenings and more lucid dreams on a regular basis than the average person that just regularly meditates?
I would say that what it really depends most on is your openness to having these experiences. And if you're really showing up, to experience this stuff, and what I mean by that is, every day you're thinking about lucid dreaming. You're thinking about having lucid dreams. You're preparing yourself. You're practicing during the daytime, during waking hours. So you might be doing reality, checks, standing on, a street at a bus stop, and maybe somebody goes by on a bicycle with some tie-dye clothing, and they just look so unusual and surreal in that moment with the backdrop of the business world, and then sort of you would then do a reality test. Maybe you'd take your fingers from one hand and try to push them through the palm of the other hand. If you were to do this in waking life, in most cases it's never going to happen because we have a rule set for this reality that says this is what physicality is, and there's the laws that govern this particular virtual reality, the Earth VR, if you like. And I think if you're practicing this kind of stuff enough, and you're really showing up in your daily life where you're reading on a regular basis, you're learning new stuff, and then that starts to you apply that. At nighttime when you wake up in the middle of the night, regardless of if you're using any other technology, I find this will be enough. It really is enough for people to explore this stuff. But it is a matter of showing up because you're training your subconscious, where you're saying to your subconscious, I pay attention, I apply myself, I learn, and then I apply. Because I think for most of us, we can intellectualize this stuff all day long. We get it intellectually, but actually put it into application, practice, taking action. That's what really cements this, with the subconscious mind. And it's that energy of I'm here, I'm showing up. This is my life now. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I'm passionate about. And that does start to translate into experience. I find that, people who go to bed with this practice in mind, their last waking thought is on the lucid dream state. Tonight I will have a lucid dream. Tonight I will realize I'm dreaming and I will become lucid. This is a very simple practice, but can be very effective. And again, we're making changes in our physical brains, which are leading to changes in our energy field. And to be honest, I think it's the other way around. It's kind of like the phantom limb syndrome. When you have somebody who's had an arm or a leg amputated, they can still feel sometimes something like an itch, on their hand, which no longer exists, or pain in a limb that no longer exists. And I think this is a good indication that, the energy field surrounding the physical body has memory. It still has energy pathways that were linked to the physical pathways, in that limb, such as, one of the minor chakras in the palm chakra. Just because you no longer have a physical representation of a hand on, let's say, for example, on that limb, you still have an energy that's underlying that where that hand used to be. And there's energy pathways that are linked in to the neuro pathways in the brain. And I think this is why, we can be so effective with things such as, reality creation, especially to do with our health. I think we have a lot of power available to us. It's just having that awareness to pay attention, to focus, to put energy towards this stuff. So whether it's healing, whether it's lucid dreaming, it is that energy of showing up. Am I showing up in this way where I really want to progress in my life?
Yeah, and I'm also wondering too, with all the people that you have coming in to the spa and all of the experience that you have personally, and like you said, you guys will test some of your programs out. Are you doing any data collection and logging this and writing it and creating something of before and after, just to present in a form of research?
We are, and we're even going as far as to getting, within the next week, we're going to actually be acquiring a very expensive EEG equipment. We're also going to be acquiring biofeedback equipment, heart rate monitors, all kinds of equipment where we can show people before and after effects, where the light is actually, maybe they'll come in on, and we'll check their, what we can, and then, after using the machine for a period of months, we can check the data again. We'd love to get to a point of being able to use these machines in research opportunities to where they can literally scan someone's brain and then months later, show the difference, how the brain has restructured itself based on the programs that we've been using. There's already really good evidence out there. Flickering light has got so many studies that's been done on it over the last few decades. Same with sound technology such as binaural sound. But yes, we want to be able to collect our own data. We are collecting data in the sense of our own personal journals, which is personal evidence of changes occurring within us. But yeah, we want to be able to get to a point to where we can actually demonstrate through research with machinery such as EEG and scanning people's brains to actually see the changes. It's one thing feeling it, it's another thing seeing it, through a graph, because that's quite powerful for people who don't feel energy so easily, or people who don't, really feel that change occurring in the way that, the transparent way they'd like to. Because I think like manifestation, 99% of what's taking place is behind the scenes, because, our fear mind, the ego, it uses physicality. It uses our five senses to evidence our life. But when you look in a mirror, you're looking, at yesterday's thinking. You're looking at, thinking that came and actions that came, from the days and weeks and years before. So it's really a powerful idea to be able to get into this mindset that we have physical eyes and we have spiritual eyes, and it's sort of being able to see, the evidence of change in our mind's eye. And not just through the five physical senses, because the five physical senses, like I said, is just sort of, data that's been collected, and you're seeing this external view of your life, which is based on yesterday's thinking, feeling, and behaving.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. I'm so happy to hear that you're going to be getting all that equipment in. I think that's going to be pretty exciting for not only you guys, but also the people coming in, like you said, and using it as a teaching for people to really see it. You're totally right. A lot of people need to see it to believe it, even though they can experience it and feel it. Yeah. Now, I wanted to also talk about, you're designing and creating this TV studio as well.
Yeah, we're nonstop here at the spa, and
I see that.
It takes a lot of energy, but it's one of these things where we know that in order to do the things we want to do and we need to do to some degree, we want to be able to have that philosophy, which I've learned, same as everybody else has learned, to extend this energy beyond self, when we're in the position to be able to do it. And, so we feel strong, we feel supported, we have the energy to do it. We maintain, the daily practices that put us in a position to be able to, to be strong enough to offer what we offer. It's just like going to the, a physical gym and working your muscles, It's a step-by-step process. You wouldn't just go to the gym and immediately start picking up the heaviest weights, because you're going to hurt yourself. So, through, taking baby steps over the period of years, we've got ourselves in this position. We're not an overnight success. We've showed up in our lives. We've overfilled spaces like the houseboat. It got too small. It was a big houseboat. It was a proper Dutch barge. But, we filled it with everything we could. We filled it with our energy. We filled it with, these gongs. We filled it with the light machines. It was the headquarters for people visiting and having experiences. But we outgrew it. And I think, if you can see life in that same way, when you truly fill the space that you're in, and that really is, that's a metaphor for things such as, taking responsibility for every experience in your life, and every experience, is literally a projection of your every thought, your every feeling, your every emotion, your every behavior, so every action you've taken. And I think when you really can take responsibility for all that stuff, looking at your life and realizing, okay, somehow I created this, in some way I created this, and being willing to take responsibility, you start to overfill that space. And if you can imagine the walls of your house and you have no ceiling, no roof, and like water filling up that space, eventually it's going to overflow, the top of the walls, and it's going to flow into a bigger space. And that's exactly what we've done here at the spa. We've got to a point where we've worked our mental muscles, our emotional muscles, our psychic muscles, our spiritual muscles, and we've built a lot of strength and a lot of support. And we're now capable of offering more, so that's what we're doing. It's one thing when at first when you're taking these baby steps, you're having this individual growth, and you're on this spiritual path. And even if you don't believe you're on a spiritual path, you're still growing. And as long as you're willing to grow, at some point when you've developed so much knowledge, so much wisdom, I feel that the universe will suddenly use you as a conduit on this level of reality, to where you can start shining that light, and start sharing that knowledge and that wisdom, to more people, through making a bigger contribution. And the universe will help synchronize those waves. I think, like manifestation, synchronicity is always on. It's not some, sort of method that you need to employ to activate it. It's always there. It's just whether or not we're capable of, seeing what's there, a reality within a reality, depending on our belief systems. But yeah, so we've set up this TV studio to where we can now broadcast, webinars, live stream events to the world, because London's a big place, but we have a lot of people following our work worldwide, and they usually get, maybe some information on Facebook, the odd YouTube video. But now we have this ability to be able to broadcast to the world, and that's what we're starting to do.
Okay, and those videos and trainings, they are going to be broadcasted through your new website, Spiritual Underground?
Correct, spiritualunderground.com, and it's free to join. A lot of the content is going to be free, and that doesn't mean it's going to be low quality. It's always high quality. Everything we do, we make sure that what we're providing is stuff that works for us, things that we employ in our lives, and if you, you and Mike have done, you've watched, us grow from the boat to now having this 2,000 square foot spa, which we've also outgrown, and we're now looking for bigger premises. We really want to be able to, share as much tools with people, things that really work. So it's going to be high quality content. So you can join for free. You can join a lot of the events at no cost. There will be some events, some content which is a fair, sort of fee-based, sort of option, but it is optional. You can join the site for free, and you can access a lot of the content at no cost, and it will be high caliber.
Great. And actually, I'd like to give you the opportunity to talk about the remote viewing training that you have coming up on February 26th, because this podcast will actually air a week before that. And that's one of the free events that you're broadcasting, correct?
Correct, yes. And we have space for 500 participants worldwide. I think we're currently on 150 people. So if you go to spiritualunderground.com, you'll find on the homepage the next event, and it's developing your Spiritual Superpowers series of free webinars, which is devoted to assisting people in developing their natural spiritual superpowers. And training series 1 in this series will be focusing on remote viewing, which is something that, the U.S. Army and the CIA initially developed back in the Cold War because they felt that the Soviet Union was using psychic spies to gather information about, from the Pentagon and other assets of, the U.S. military and infrastructure. So they needed a counterforce to that. And the counterforce was what they developed with a psychic and profound out-of-body explorer named Ingo Swann back in the 1970s, and it's called remote viewing. So, of course, the military application aside of this was, it was militarized sort of use. And I think that's the same with any technology. All technology has dual use, whether that can be used in a good way or a bad way. We use remote viewing for good, for, locating missing people and objects, contacting deceased loved ones and spirit guides, because people want to feel reassured. People want to feel that they are connected to their loved ones and that their loved ones will go on or that will survive death. So it's a great tool for that. Channeling information, exploring past lives, alternate time lives, tapping into the ET exploration and contact, if that's an interest for people. There's so much that it can be used to explore with. And it's something that I learned over 18 years ago, and I practice on a regular basis, and I'm very happy to be able to share this.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask a couple of things about that because I'm interested just in signing up myself, but I notice on the site it's 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., so that's London time, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And so I have to figure that out. Do I need to wake up to do this or what? And is it going to be
Your time should probably be around 5 p.m. your time, so not too bad for you on a Sunday, but for, perhaps other people in the world, they'll need to be more creative.
Yes. And is it going to be live or is it pre-recorded? And if people sign up and miss it, are they able to go back in and watch it for free?
It will be live streamed. So those who sign up on the day and actually watch it, yes, it will be live. It will be recorded, and it will then be put up on the Spiritual Underground site in the members area, in the free members area. So if it's late at night or it's early in the morning and people really can't do the live event, then yes, the pre-recorded event, the recorded event will go up on the site. Okay,
great, good to know. And it looks like you have some great information about, on the Spiritual Underground. It looks like it's fairly new, and you're getting new content up there, and you have some great news articles just about scientific experiments, and you have information about the CIA, how they used to use the psychics with remote viewing. So it looks like, just from what I'm seeing, that this is going to be a great site for people to head on over to, and it's wonderful that you are going to have that option for members who can get content for free, and then also subscribing for those who want to go a little bit deeper and pay a little bit more for what you have to offer.
Absolutely. I mean, April, it's in its infancy still, but I feel within probably just a couple of weeks to months, we'll have a lot of content. We'll have regular sort of events, weekly events that'll then be recorded and also put up there, but also live streamed. So we're putting all of our energy into developing this.
Okay, great. And I have a question that's it's connected, but a little off topic,
Sure.
That just kind of piqued my ears open a little bit more when you were talking about people exploring, working with ETs. Do you feel like that you have any ETs that are helping you and guiding you through your projects here? And if so, would you want to talk about that? Or do you feel like you're getting information from another dimension or higher consciousness system that's guiding you?
For sure. One thing that we've noticed, we have our developer of the light, his name is Jimmy Simpson. And, if anybody would like to connect with him on Facebook, he's an amazing guy. He's an engineer who, took a few years to develop this system before we then brought it to the world. So we've got Jimmy Simpson. We've got another, one of our chief programmers here. His name is Lance Carter. And Lance Carter has developed a lot of the programs. I used to develop most of the programs, but I was wearing too many hats, if you like, and stretching myself into many directions. So now Lance Carter has taken over that area, and he's an amazing programmer. He's learned a lot about brainwave entrainment and neuroscience, etc. And then we have another one of our explorers, Ladrin Bex, who we all make this big contribution to the Pandora Star system itself and all the programs. And what's interesting is on a regular basis, we're like through dreams and through out-of-body experiences, there's like contact, not just from ET stuff, which I'll get to in a second, but we're getting contact from, it seems, an aspect of Nikola Tesla, literally coming to the four of us through different dream states and out-of-body experiences, sharing information with us to actually help bring this light to, another level. Because one thing that we've realized and recognized from the beginning is that, the light itself seems to be teaching us. We have no hubris with regards to feeling that we know what this is all about. We really do feel that, this is, we're being guided. And yes, we do think there's an ET influence there too, but also it's reported in Tesla's own autobiography that, he felt he was being influenced. And he felt a lot of the information was coming to him in sort of flashes of light in his mind's eye. And he could hold, entire images, coherently in his mind's eye for hours on end. And, we're getting very similar stuff in dream states at the moment. And sometimes these flashes come to us, in waking states. And again, we can feel that energy of Tesla behind it. So that in itself is very interesting.
That's very cool. I'm glad I asked that question. Wonderful.
Yeah, so we do feel that there's stuff happening. I've had a lot of ET experiences for quite a while now. But, even that, is starting to change for me. I used to believe, with the X-Files, and this expression that we have that the truth is out there. I don't really believe anymore that the truth is out in deep space, like we're sort of hoping it is. Like there's Big Brother in the stars somewhere that's going to show up and, and sort of show us that we're part of a bigger cosmic family. I think it is really internal stuff more than external stuff these days. I see that there are hundreds of millions of stars in our galaxy. There's hundreds of millions of galaxies in our universe. Yet we receive no signals as such reported from the scientific community from, these big radio telescopes, et cetera, signals from intelligent communicating, worlds. We get thousands of UFO sightings, reported every year with an estimated 250,000 sightings documented worldwide over the past 50 years. But, that's thousands of sightings taking place right here on Earth, but no signals coming from out there. So, I've really started to question, what's all that mean? And, sure, we get crop circles, which to me is a sign, it is a signal. I had an out-of-body experience once where, when I went to Wiltshire on a camping trip, a synchronicity camping trip with a bunch of friends, I had an out-of-body experience where I actually saw these interdimensional beings create a crop circle right before my eyes, which was, they were manipulating from a nonlinear space outside of physical reality. And it was creating a disturbance within physical reality that then created that crop circle. So that was quite an amazing experience to have. But I just think that, when looking at things like the Drake equation, where we do have this calculation, this probabilistic argument, that we can estimate a certain number of communicating civilizations. The most, I think, optimistic sort of outlook on this Drake equation is something like there should be 78,000 communicating active civilizations in our own Milky Way galaxy, and billions, if not trillions, throughout the physical universe at large. And then you take the most skeptical equation from the Drake equation, and you still get like one active communicating civilization per galaxy, which still gives you mind-boggling 78 billion communicating active civilizations in the whole universe. But again, we don't seem to be experiencing signals coming from deep space, but we are experiencing sightings, UFO reports, abductions and stuff right here on physical Earth. And it really does make me think, tying into my lucid dream research, that I think physical reality really is a mental construct. And I think, there could be other arguments that, perhaps, this other intelligent life is rare in the universe, more rare than the Drake equation would suggest. Maybe some of these other intelligent life, look at us and think we're not mature enough. I think they're all good arguments, but that's just not my observation from an out-of-body explorer's perspective. I really do think there's something more interesting going on. I think, it's probably, through my exoplanet research, in the out-of-body state, where, I'm visiting other planets in our own solar system and seeing, that these seem to be physically constructed environments on their inner levels, their counterpart levels. They do seem to have thriving, sort of life, extraterrestrial life in some origin. But when I explore and expand my search into the rest of the physical universe while out of body, I don't seem to see the same. It almost seems as if the cosmos at large is a backdrop to the Earth virtual reality program. And it's as if it was designed specifically for us, and that no other life exists out there, just to keep this virtual reality program simple. But yet all the life that I'm aware of, that I experienced, the ET life, the non-human intelligences, seem to be coming from interdimensional points of origin. And I think, to me, we're looking at this ginormous, frequency generating, field. The whole multidimensional universe, if you like, multiverses, is just this, sorry, I lost my thinking. It's sort of just like, if you look at radio and TV signals and stuff here on Earth, they're all simultaneously within the same geography, being transmitted within the same geography. Yet when we tune into specific radio stations, television programs, make a phone call, we don't hear, the jumble of all these various transmissions at the same time, because all of these sources of signals, the radio stations, television networks, and telecoms providers, all agree to use different frequencies. Although we have all these signals are jumbled together in the same space-time domain, they're distinct in the frequency domain. And I think that's what the universe is this massive frequency domain. And we've got all these different virtual realities being created that have their own rule sets. Like our physical Earth has this one with regards to physical reality feels like this. Physicality feels and looks like this. But yet it's just a construction in our minds. And I think, that's how the multiverse actually is. You have all these other virtual reality systems, occupying the same space, domain, but having different time domains within this one bigger frequency domain. I hope that makes sense. But, this is how I'm starting to see it. I think extraterrestrial life does exist, but to me, it's interdimensional. And the rest of our cosmos is like a backdrop, to a play. And the play here is, the Earth virtual reality.
Yeah, and is this some of the stuff that you're going to be talking about on Spiritual Underground? I mean, the Drake equation just sounds really interesting. I know that our listeners would probably love to have a whole episode on that in itself. But what direction are you planning on going in with some of these webinars, with just some of your own knowledge and experiences like you've just talked about? Are you going to put some of that up there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to do an entire webinar live stream on lucid dreaming as being evidence that physical reality is an illusion, that it's a mental construct, and I'm going to give all the evidence that I've gathered, for the case, and then of course we'll take questions during the live streaming as well, so we can then deepen, the discussion with other people, putting forward ideas and questions to help us sort of flesh out even more, because there is so much to this. And I realize we have a time limit today. We could literally go on for hours and just not even scratch the surface as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, we're going to definitely deepen the conversation through Spiritual Underground. Wonderful.
Well, I'm looking forward to signing up myself and tuning into some of the free webinars that you have there. And funny, the reason why we actually reached out to you is that Mike and I both had a dream of you within the same week. And
wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, in my dream, it was one of those things, again, it just felt so real waking up, and, it wasn't really a lucid dream, I wouldn't say, or I don't know what I would classify it as, but, it was one of those things where I woke up and I kind of felt sad that I had to leave, and I couldn't figure out who this person was, who this man was in my dream. And all day I'm like, God, he looks so familiar. But I know him from somewhere. I know somebody that I know. And I don't really know you. I know you kind of on a virtual basis and following you on Facebook. We've never met in person. And then, at some point in that afternoon, I was like, oh my God, it was Todd. And Mike and I, hopped online, on a Friday and recording some other podcasts. And I was like, God, I had the strangest dream about Todd. And he was like, really? He's like, yeah, a couple of days ago, he was in my dream too. I said, well, we better contact him and get him on, have him talk, because that's a sign to me, I mean, we're all communicating on some level, but, for Mike and I, we're like, yeah, let's have him back on. We haven't had him on in a while, and he's doing some new cool stuff. So we're glad that you were available.
Oh, my absolute honor and pleasure, April, and thank you, Mike, as well, and for following your guidance. I think you're both right. We get this guidance through dreams. We're not just getting guidance, but we're, like you've alluded to, we're sharing experiences, and we may not be fully conscious to them here, but I think a part of us is always fully conscious to it. It's just whether or not we're having the downloads when we wake back up in this reality. I do think we're regularly meeting up, and we have, like-minded sort of events that we meet at on other levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap up, if you could just let our listeners know the websites to go to again, where to find you, where to find your work. You just took a bunch of people on another synchronicity walk just this week that you haven't done one of those in a while, and I also see that you're doing some stuff on the meetup groups for the Journey of Truth. So if you just want to wrap up the show for the listeners and let them know where to get all your good information, that would be great. Will do. Thanks, April. So the main site now that we're pushing is spiritualunderground.com, and this is basically for the world. This is our worldwide platform. So for anyone who can't get to London or who doesn't live in London, then this is for you. It's free live streamed webinars. Of course, like I said, there will be other content that will be have premium sort of price tag, but there's always going to be the free content. Please friend me on Facebook, because that's where I upload a lot of stuff as well. Like I just uploaded 15-minute condensed sort of video from last night's Synchronicity Walk in London, which was amazing. It was probably one of my favorite Synchronicity Walks in doing 7 years of Synchronicity Walks. So if you'd like to have a look at that video, go to my Facebook page. That's Todd Acamesis. So if you type that into or just type in Todd Acamesis into Facebook, you'll find me. And you'll always find good content there that I don't share anywhere else. If you are in London or in England, then or the UK for that matter, then I do run events in London as well as retreats throughout the country, and you can find things at meetup.com/spiritual underground. And then, of course, for Pandora Star is pandorastar.co.uk. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And, Mike and I are really hoping to meet you in person one day and get out there and maybe bring all of our equipment and make a documentary of all the work that you're doing. Yeah, we would too. That would be amazing. So yeah, April, please, let's manifest that. Okay. Yes. So we need people to buy some more of our films then, right? Let's go, people. Get us out there. Yes. All right, Todd. Well, always a pleasure. And as always, would love to have you back on when you have some new stuff coming out. So feel free to, reach back out to us, or we'll maybe dream of you, and we'll reach back out to you when that happens. Oh, thank you so much, April, and thank you, Mike, for your support. Deeply, deeply grateful. All right. Have a great day. You too. Thank you.
If you'd like more information about our films or to purchase our DVDs, you can head on over to our website at thepastseries.com. They're also available to purchase on amazon.com.
Our films are also streaming online at vimeo.com, gaiamtv.com, and iTunes.
If you have a show suggestion or would like us to interview someone specifically, please feel free to shoot us an email at info@thepastseries.com or send us a tweet at thepastseries.
Please rate and review us in iTunes and subscribe.
We hope you enjoyed the show.